came across Back to Orthodoxy's video asking a few questions for atheists. They don't seem to be the usual, hey, these questions prove I'm right, but more of an honest attempt to understand the atheist viewpoint. Let's see what he asks and what answers I can give. He actually has a second video with a question responding to the first video, so I'm going to check them both out.
Hey guys, it's Justin with you once again.
Hi, Justin.
So I just have 5 questions I wanted to ask, and just wanted for you guys to answer those. Anyway, the first question is why are you an atheist? I'm sure that you guys have put a lot of thoughts, energy, and thinking behind why you do not believe in God, why you reject the belief in God. So I'm just kind of curious as to how you came about that conclusion.
Well, theism is a positive claim. Something, in this case a god, exists. Like all claims and hypotheses, the first question I have is, what evidence is there to back up the claim that there is a god? I personally haven't come across any evidence myself, so I have no reason to think there's a god out there. Since there's no evidence available to me, if I want to be intellectually honest with myself, I would have to say there's no reason to believe in a divine being, so I'm an atheist.
The second question would be, do you know much about the Christian God? How much do you know about God? Have you read the Bible front to back? Have you studied it thoroughly?
In grade school, I had several teachers who would start the day with a Bible reading or story. This went on until I was in grade 7, when public schools were no longer permitted to do so. Anyone who knows Ontario law should be able to use that to date me. Ouch. Then, when I was taking my post-secondary education, I was required to take several religious studies courses for one of my degrees. So, I think I have a decent understanding of the Abrahamic beliefs, and also many of the Eastern ones: Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Shintoism. I had to read the texts of many of those systems, including the Bible. I like to think that I'm familiar not only with the Judeo-Christian beliefs, but a number of different religions and gods. Or, at least I was. Those classes were a while back, so my recollection of some details might be a bit rusty. I've obviously had to keep up my understanding of the Abrahamic beliefs because those are the dominant ones around me. I'm just curious, but apart from the Christian belief system, what do you know about the diverse religions of the world, and why do you reject them over your own belief system?
The third question I have would be, when you think of the Judeo-Christian God, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
First thing? Imaginary, since I lack any evidence for its existence, but many other people claim it's real.
Question number 4 would be, what is God's character? Who is he? What is in his nature? Who do you think he is? He's good, evil, bad, whatever.
If I was going to go with the one described in his book, petty and cruel, I could also use jealous. That's his own personal description of himself. And that's not just limited to the Judeo-Christian God, but really any being that has unlimited knowledge and power that will cost them nothing to help others, yet often acts by harming others when it could use its power to resolve conflict without any harm. Back to the specific God you're talking about. The fact that he supposedly has the ability to prove his existence to the world in an unambiguous way, chooses not to, and then punishes those that don't have enough evidence for him, makes him come off as, well, kind of a dick. But that's the same as asking me what I think of Darth Vader's character. He has several attributes and characteristics that can be applied to him. That doesn't make him real at all.
Following question number 4 is question number 5 was, how did you come to these conclusions? What makes you think that the theology of God, I guess you can say, is what you came to your conclusion? What about him made you believe that that's his character?
How did I come to these conclusions about his character? Reading the Bible, mostly. How his apparent displeasure with humanity resulted in the wholesale slaughter of populations, instead of using his supposed omniscience and omnipotence to help make things better. One of the most notable was the killing of the firstborn in Egypt. Along with the other plagues, God mind-controlled the leader of the country into not letting his people go, then punished others by killing their children, because of the decision that came from said mind control. The pettiness is shown by the fact that he literally says he is jealous of other gods, and if somebody even suggests things about other gods, rather than prove your God is the correct one, or even just accept that others have different beliefs, you're to kill them, even if they're your friends and family, rather than defend your beliefs through reason or tolerance.
I noticed something very striking that I wanted to ask you guys. Now, the Christians, when they think of the Judeo-Christian God, when they think of the God of the Bible, they think he is loving, they think he is patient, they think he is kind and merciful. Now, on the other hand, you have the atheists out there that had a very consistent response, and that was that God is evil, God is vindictive, he is a jerk, basically. Basically, the polar opposites of what the Christians believe. Now, I find that very, very interesting. The one question I just want to ask is, Why do you feel, or why do you think that Christians and atheists are on polar opposites when it comes to the character of God and what you think about God? Why is it that atheists have such a different view of God than what Christians do?
This is due to a psychological condition known as cognitive dissonance, which is a need for people to have consistency in their beliefs. When you subscribe to a particular viewpoint, you will rationalize your thoughts and beliefs to support that viewpoint. Most people have a block where things are black or white, good or bad. It's difficult for people to say, I think this person or being is great, here are the things wrong with them. In other words, people will make an effort to justify whatever they want. For instance, I'm on a diet, but when a craving hits, I'll tell myself something like, well, this iced cream has milk in it. Milk's good for me. Therefore, I'll eat this entire tub of cookie dough dynamo. It's very easy to convince ourselves what we want is good. Fine. For the religious believer, they usually think God is doing something wonderful for them. In fact, the most wonderful thing, giving them both life here and eternal paradise after they die. Therefore, there's a need to rationalize his actions into a positive light so that worship is justified. There's nothing embarrassing about that. It's a human condition. But we should take note of when it does happen, so don't let our biases influence our thoughts. As an atheist, I have no belief in, and so no loyalty to, this God person. When I read the books, I see the negative actions attributed to it. This includes, but not limited to, genocide, disease, and disasters. Honestly, without a need to justify all that it does as good, this makes it appear that God, at least as described in the Bible, is little more than a tyrant, who would not seem to be deserving of worship, even if I thought he existed. I hope that answers your questions. As always, if anybody else comes across questions they think I should answer, or have some of your own, please pass them on. Ah!